Hi, how are you all? I'm Shivani. Welcome back to my channel. In my previous videos, I've told you about semi-modals need, dare, ought to, and used to. Need, dare, ought to, and used to. Now, what are semi-modals? Semi-modals are words that can be used as regular verbs as well as modal auxiliaries. They can be used as regular verbs as well as modal auxiliaries. So today let's discuss about the semi-modal need in detail. Semi-modal need in detail. Just a little while ago, I told you that semi-modals can function as regular verbs as well as modal auxiliaries. So let's find out how the semi-modal need functions as a regular verb. Before that, what's the meaning of the word need? Need means requirement, necessity, obligation, commitment, or duty. Need means requirement, necessity, obligation, commitment, or duty. For example, I need a bag. It's my requirement. You need to help your mother. It's your duty. So let's find out how it functions as a verb. Now, as you know, regular verbs, they change their form according to the subject and the tense of the sentence. According to the subject and the tense of the sentence. Let's take a few examples. She needs to meet the principal. They need to meet the principal. Now here, when the subject is singular and a third person and the sentence is in the present indefinite tense, we add S to the verb. She needs to meet the principal. But when the subject becomes plural, then there's no requirement to add an S to the verb. So it remains need. They need to meet the principal. While forming a sentence in the past tense, we have to add ed to the verb need. They needed to meet the principal. She needed to meet the principal. So, need as a regular verb changes its form according to the subject and the tense of the sentence. The sentence structure is like subject plus verb plus object, or it can be the verb followed by an infinitive. Subject plus verb plus infinitive. But remember, whenever we are using the infinitive, we use the full infinitive or the to infinitive. The marker to is always added in front of the infinitive, to go, to see, and so on. I need a bag. I is the subject, need is the verb, and bag is the object. I need to buy a bag. I is the subject, need is the verb, and to buy is the infinitive. Right. Now what about negative sentences? To form a negative, we have to use the auxiliary do, does, or did. Do plus not do not or don't. Does plus not, does not or doesn't. Did plus not, did not or didn't. She does not need to meet the principal. They do not need to meet the principal. They did not need to meet the principal. Clear? Now, what about interrogative sentences? While forming interrogative sentences, we place the auxiliaries do, does, or did in front of the subject. Does she need to meet the principal? Do they need to meet the principal? Did they need to meet the principal? We can also form negative questions by adding not to the auxiliaries do, does, and did. Don't they need to meet the principal? Don't they need to meet the principal? Doesn't she need to meet the principal? Didn't they need to meet the principal? Didn't they need to meet the principal? I hope you have understood how and when need is used as a regular verb in a sentence. Now let's find out how and when it functions as a modal auxiliary in a sentence. Now modal auxiliaries such as will, would, shall, should, can, could, may, might, and must. These are modal auxiliaries. So need also functions as a modal auxiliary. We need to remember a few rules. Now, modal auxiliaries, as you know, we never add s or ed to a modal auxiliary. It never changes its form. Can remains can, will remains will. We never add s or ed to a modal auxiliary. Similarly, we never use or never add s to need or ed to need when it functions as a modal auxiliary. For example, she need not go there. She need not go there. Although the subject is singular, third person, and the tense is present indefinite, but we don't add s to need because it functions as a modal auxiliary. We never say she can's not goes there or she wills not goes there. That sounds weird. Similarly, we never add s or ed with need when it functions as a modal auxiliary. Right? That's the first rule. Now the second rule is modal auxiliaries are always followed by bare infinitives. They are not followed by to infinitive. They are not followed by the marker to. Similarly, need is also not followed by to or the to infinitive. Let's take that example once again. She need not go there. We never say she need not to go there. That will be wrong. What do we say? She need not go there. So that's the second rule. Need, when it functions as a modal, it's followed by a bare infinitive or the base form of the verb. The verb go is in its base form or basic form known as bare infinitive. Let's take a few more examples. She need not meet her friends. She need not meet her friends. We don't say she need not to meet her friends. That will be wrong. They need not come here. We don't say they need not to come here. Now, the next rule, the third rule, it's very important. We use the modal need always in a negative sentence. Very rarely we use it in positive sentences. We use need in negative sentences. Whenever it functions as a modal, we use it in negative sentences. And negative sentences are formed simply by using the negative not. We don't add the auxiliaries do, does, or did. We don't use do not, does not, or did not. Let's take the same examples. She need not come here. Have you noticed? I've used not. I've not used don't or doesn't. If we use don't or doesn't, then the sentence will become she does not need to come here. Then we'll have to add a to infinitive. And you know that to infinitive is never used with need as a modal. When it functions as a regular verb, only then we use to infinitives. She does not need to come here. In this sentence, need functions as a regular verb. Does is the auxiliary verb or the helping verb, and need functions as the main verb. So whenever we use do, does, or did, need becomes a regular verb. It does not function as a modal. Now sometimes we use need in positive sentences, but that's very uncommon. And that is when there is a semi-negative word present in the sentence. Semi-negative words such as only, never, scarcely, hardly, etc. When these words are there in the sentence, only then need as a modal is used in a positive sentence. Let's take a few examples. She only need tell him and he'll make the changes. She only need tell him and he'll make the changes. I hardly need remind you the importance of time. I hardly need remind you the importance of time. Now look at these sentences. She need not have gone to the party. She need not have gone to the party. My mother need not have cooked the dinner. My mother need not have cooked the dinner. Now these sentences tell you about something that happened in the past but could have been avoided or were not required or were unnecessary. The action that took place in the past but was not required. Now, What about interrogative sentences? Now let's discuss the last rule. When need as a modal is used in interrogative sentences. Need as a modal can be used in interrogative sentences. Need I go there? Need she meet the officer? Now, when we form interrogative sentences, the modal auxiliary need is placed in front of the subject. Need she go there? She is the subject and need is the modal auxiliary. So it's placed in front of the subject to form an interrogative sentence. Need they meet the officer? Again, need has been placed in front of the subject, they. Again, remember, we don't use do, does, or did to form interrogative sentences. Did they need to meet the officer? Then need will work as a verb, not as a modal. Do they need to meet the officer? Again, here need is not a modal. It's not functioning as a modal. It's functioning as a regular verb or the main verb. So remember this rule that while making interrogative sentences, we place the modal need in front of the subject to form the question. Need I remind you to subscribe to my channel? Need I remind you to subscribe to my channel? Please, if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to my channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon to remain connected. Share the video with your friends, give it a like, and write your comments. I'll be back again very soon with another video. Till then, bye-bye. Take care.